Okay. My family had a hardware store in LeCount, Louisiana from 1917 to 2002. And during the war, the store was right on the thoroughfare leading from
I'm
South.
sorry, Bill. Are you? We're actually talking to the. You're talking to Harry.
Okay,
I
you
didn't
want
know
me?
if you were. I didn't know if you were talking to the camera. If you were intending to talk to the camera.
So I need to talk to Harry and not the camera, right?
Correct.
Okay.
These are going to be kind of like little sound bites where you're just, even though we're not seeing Harry, it's understood that you're talking to someone off camera.
Oh, okay. Sorry about
So,
that.
yeah.
I'm used to looking at. You had me well trained, man.
All
Don't take your eyes off the camera.
I had to fight it.
I'm not even moving my feet.
right. So yeah, you're talking to Harry.
Okay, so we'll just start this over.
I had to fight it.
Okay.
What's the prompt again?
It's Camp Claiborne.
Comp hardware, boxcar, steel, radio.
Okay. My family, the Robisons had. Okay.
I need to slow it down a little bit.
Yours was real smooth compared to this.
If I got the little thing, take 3.
Now I'll probably have a coughing fit. That'll be just perfect.
Is this your water here?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll control it.
All right, you can go ahead.
Okay. From 1917 to shit. Going to be a lot of this.
Take 4.
All right. My family had a hardware store in LeCount, Louisiana from 1917 to early in the 21st century. And during the war, the store was right on the thoroughfare that led from South Louisiana out to Camp Claiborne at Forest Hill. It was located on the somewhat over-ambitiously named Wall Street at the corner of Wall Street and Water Street. At any rate, during the war, my father said that people would start coming through before daylight from South Louisiana, heading out to Camp Claiborne. Hordes of people from South Louisiana took advantage of the opportunity to have jobs at Camp Claiborne. It was also extraordinarily good for the store's business. The store sold a great deal of building material for the camp. On one occasion, there was an entire boxcar load of steel fencing and other things that the Army simply came and unloaded from the boxcar. They didn't even have to take it off and bring it to the warehouses in town. My grandfather used to keep up with the war with an old radio that is still in the family. It's older than I am, obviously, but it kept everyone in the area very intensely engaged. Was that even moderately coherent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamie? Yeah. Influx of South Louisiana workers, the tool scam, I have come to see for a saw.
Okay. During the war, a tremendous number of people from South Louisiana got jobs at Camp Claiborne. And many of them, of course, were very glad to get these because they had been living in extreme poverty during the Depression. And one of the problems many of them had early on before they got their first paychecks is that they didn't have any tools. And it was thought to be essential that you have at least the basic tools of your trade when you went to Camp Claiborne. So one of the stories that was told over and over again about these workers is that they would go to Camp Claiborne, go through the gate with their hammers and saws, then go down the fence a ways, hand them over to the fence to the next guy who would then come in with the same tools and thereby get a job. Once they eventually got paid, they would come to my grandfather's store and buy tools. And because many of these individuals were from Acadiana, English was their second language, and in some cases a rather distant second. And my father told a number of interesting stories about communications issues that occurred, his favorite being the guy who came in and told him, "I have come to see for a saw."
Good stories. German POWs.
After the war had been going on for a while, there were a number of German prisoners of war at Camp Claiborne, and they were put to work. And as a consequence of that, Many of them were brought into town in LeCount to unload materials from both my grandfather's warehouses and another warehouse that belonged to an adjacent store that had grain and various things like that. And so it was not an uncommon sight at all for there to be a couple of truckloads of German POWs guarded by soldiers with machine guns right across the street in the middle of town. A few years later, in the 1950s, my father's youngest brother, Bob Robison, was serving in the Army in Germany, where he was the secretary for a while to Omar Bradley. And he was walking down the street one day, and a guy stopped him and said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Oh, you wouldn't know. It's just a little town in Louisiana." But the guy persisted, and it turned out that he had been one of those prisoners of war and that he recognized my uncle walking down the street. I just went ahead and did the other question, so that takes care of it. Okay, that was it for me.
That was it?
Secretary.
Okay.